now.
To go
Okay.
for it, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Imperial citizens and rebels, uh, we're gonna try and fill out a new group of people every single time. How about Rhodians and Nautiloids?
Mm.
Welcome to another episode of the StarCrossed Gamers podcast. I am Johnny, writer for Level 1 Gaming, and who am I with tonight?
You know, I happen to be Baron J67, the communications director over here at Level 1 Gaming, and I'm just so happy that we're on episode 2, or for us, it'd be like episode what, like 15 or 14?
Yeah, I think we stopped at Fort 13.
Ah, got you. I think so as well. Um, you know what? Oh, let me see. I did not mute the background footage, and I thought I did, and I apologize. I thought it is muted. Let me see. Technical difficulties. We are live.
It it wouldn't be a StarCross without technical difficulties.
Mic check.
This is a long running.
How is it now?
I think it may be better. I don't hear it anymore.
Okay, good catch. Because that's weird. Because I haven't muted on my end. But let's keep moving forward. And if I need to adjust it or fix it, I have no issues, and we will get it done.
Exactly.
Because I know you were narrating over the gameplay, right?
Yeah, I treated it like a live stream.
Which is dope, man. Okay, folks. You know what? We're gonna start a petition to get Johnny Man back into the business, but we'll talk about that later. Um, welcome back, StarCrossed gamers. Now, I know we have talks about Star Wars and where it is today. Now, for me currently, the universe of Star Wars is one that I feel has not been properly tapped into. Um, I think there's so much out there outside of the Skywalker family and outside of this time frame, this designated rebellion, because it's crazy because we talked about it last week. It's only been what, about 50 years.
Yeah, something like that. More or less like two or three, generations.
Now on TV, with TV included, how it's still within the lifespan of Skywalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to see Star Wars go?
The future of Star Wars, I could see either taking one of two directions. Either they can kind of dig into canon, not canon, legends a bit, and explore the I don't know what they call it, the Old Republic era was like the age of Revan and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, if they were to do that, I know, unfortunately, they would have to cover Revan stuff. But,
Yeah.
that there's an entire span, like there's like hundreds of years worth of stuff there. So, if they wanted to be lazy about it, they can go that direction. But alternatively, uh, in something I think they is more likely to happen, is um, they can continue on the current timeline. So after the sequel trilogy, with a time gap, and just make a new story. Let's not do a rehash. Let it just be an original story about a new cast. No mention of the name Skywalker, unless it's a passing reference to like the generations of old.
Okay. You know what, man? For me, um, I would love to see almost like and it's funny because it would start going into Star Trek territory, where I would want to see when humanity first took off, or what pushed humanity to start engaging to this level. Like, what planet did humanity start on? You know what I mean? Because the way Star Wars takes place, from what I've seen, I haven't dug into deep into the lore, the books, and whatnot. But it seems like life is just everywhere, and there's humans just everywhere, right? I want to
Yes, I mean
see
there's. Okay, sorry.
no, I really want to see the origin of certain species and races within the Star Wars universe. I know that may kind of go against the grain in a big way, but I just think that would be something interesting. But then, like I said before, you really do start creeping into the Star Trek territory, and it basically would be Star. I'm basically asking for Star Trek. Now that I think about it.
In, it's not canon anymore. It is part of Legends, but there is that has been touched upon, like the origins of humanity and other races.
Oh, see, okay. I want to see that played out in on screen. I want to see. Honestly, I want a war movie.
Yes.
I want a ground level. Yeah, I want a ground, boots on the ground, star battle. Like, okay, you can have a couple of special generals pop in and out, but I want one soldier. I want a unit. I want Bad Batch, but I want it during hardcore, like, big battle war times. I want Saving Private Ryan, but with troopers.
Yes, I've always envisioned them being able to do that with the Battle of Geonosis from Attack of the Clones.
True. And what up, Flameser? And guys, this is an open forum. Jump in the chat. Let us know what you guys want to see with Star Wars and where you guys feel Star Wars is right now. And Johnny, real quick, do you want to break down what gameplay they're looking at right now?
The gameplay they are watching is my little first foray into the hit classic up-and-coming title, MMORPG Tycoon 2. A bit of a mouthful, but it is very fun, as hopefully you'll be able to tell.
And do you want to give them a quick breakdown on what kind of game we're looking at? What's the premise?
You are building yourself your own little MMO, and it gets very detailed. And what you'll see me doing for like the next couple minutes is struggling how to work with uplinks, because it was not the most clear. But I soon get past it, don't worry. And we make ourselves a little town, and we put ourselves down some enemies for our players to fight. And we just have fun with it.
And is the audio better? Like, we had a quick audio check. I forgot I had you low on my end. That was my fault. Anybody? Much better. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was my fault. I told you guys doing the doing the back end technical part is a lot different than what I'm normally doing. Thank you guys. Thank you, Fame. Thank you, Flameser, and everybody else who's in the chat. Now, would you say that is it more detailed than other tycoon type games that you have played? We're taking a brief break to talk about the gameplay that you guys see on screen.
Yes, it is very in depth. Like, it comes down to, you can't design the buildings you put down, but there are different templates you can choose from. And you can make yourself like a little pirate shanty town if you want, or it could be a medieval fantasy, like World of Warcraft-esque Stormwind town, okay. Or it could be like the undead like graveyards. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with it. You can go crazy, and they're like all the players and NPCs and the enemies are all customizable. There's like a whole. It's like one of those like infinite possibility kind of things,
Got you. Is there like a god? Is there an even more god mode where you get to go in and like pick your favorite person and like give them boost and whatnot?
You can boost individual people's levels.
Oh Lord! But so what is that title one more time?
MMORPG Tycoon 2.
All right. Is it up on Steam right now, or is it early access?
I believe it is early access at the moment, but I would not discourage you from purchasing it. It is a very good game.
So it's got the Johnny stamp of approval. Now back to Star Wars. Boots on the ground, big war. What time frame? Mm-hmm. What type of soldier? What would you want to see?
Me personally?
Yes.
Well, I was gonna either write a movie script or a book about it one of these days, but I mean, let's get real. I don't think I ever will.
Ah, you
But
could do it.
the ideal Star Wars movie for me would set, or like I guess future of like the next saga would be post sequel trilogy.
Okay.
Maybe give it like a year or two or something just to like, give yourself some room. But um I would want it to, how the original trilogy came out and it was fun, self-isolated. But then the prequels kind of came in, uh, and it was more focused on world building.
True.
I
Give
would
some
kind of
background.
want, yeah, what I kind of want to do, or I want to see at least, is kind of go back to that formula. Like the sequel trilogy, one of the biggest flaws people pointed out is so much stuff happens in the background that we're not told about. For instance, like the First Order somehow controls the entire galaxy.
True.
How? No, there's no mention of that whatsoever. They have to rely on like comics and stuff to flush that out.
And builds up one of the greatest freaking air space forces ever with all those damn star destroyers.
Yeah, they're supposed to be an organization in hiding, yet they have the manpower for such a feat, which I find impressive. But, I would want to see like the fallout pretty much of that war. So like, the New Republic, as a government, kind of got blown up at the beginning of at the not the beginning, the end of episode 7. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, but this
Yeah,
is a Star Wars
super
chat.
spoiler. Yeah.
And we didn't hear from them at all for the rest of the, saga. So what happened, Is it kind of just like a organization in name only because most of the leadership will have been gone? Are the resistance gonna build up a new republic again? Just like the rebels did? Like
Right?
yeah, like we need the answers to these questions. And so, um, I think I want to see them explore what happens after the sequels. And let's be honest, I feel like this gives them a lot of opportunity to like course correction.
Got you.
But
Now,
what about you?
see, for me, I like the smaller stories that they're doing, but my problem is they need to just get away from the current the time frame that we all know and love. Like get away from it. You not that they've milked it dry because once again, this is a universe. Like like if we let's say we did stay within these 50 years or within the Skywalker saga, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
There are so many stories to be told that are all very interesting and have enough to carry their own 3-movie saga in itself. Um I mean, you can dive into the drug trade part of it. Like you could where's our crime drama within Star Wars?
This is true. I have a feeling Disney would shut that down for obvious reasons, but I
Of
do get the
course.
point.
But this like there is so much. Could you imagine like some what do they call it? What do they call the drug? Not spice. Or do they call it
Yeah, that is
spice? Like
spice.
doom. Okay. Imagine like a whole spice series like built around that. Like Star Wars runners. That's what I would call it. Runners. It wouldn't even be
Hmm.
drug runners. It wouldn't even be. It would just be freaking street kids working their way up through the through whatever planet they started on and creating some type of interplanetary trait. I want to see drug stories within Star Wars. I want to see crime dramas. I want to see murder mysteries. I want to see like dive into the huts. Like give us a real crime. Like there's a big crime underworld, so much so that it hints in all the movies. All 9 movies there's a hint of whether you were a smuggler, whether you were working for the Huts, whether you were a bounty hunter. And we're kind of getting that with Mandalorian, but not as deep as I would really want.
Yeah, they really took the original premise, scrapped it for Baby Yoda.
Yes. And which I get it. Sell the
This is what
merch
happens when we get talking about Star Wars.
every time.
Every time.
It's and what's so crazy is that it just irks me, not because what they're doing is necessarily bad. Let me paint this picture. I'm enjoying it. I haven't finished Mandalorian. I haven't started the Bad Batches. I want to call them bad B words so bad, but it just, whoever came up with that marketing just had to know that people were gonna mistakenly say that. They just had to. But we've talked about that 1.5 million times.
Hmm.
I don't mind this, but as much as I love Ahsoka, as much as I love Jedi, Sith, there is more there than that. Like the Star Wars spiral. Oh, bro, Wolf, I'm telling you, like okay, murder mysteries. Like you could do some, I don't know, you could even do some type of cheesy TV show where you have somebody who goes around solving problems, like solving petty crimes, going throughout the, like you could literally do a comedy style bounty hunter situation. Like I know they tried to do that with what was that dang movie that nobody liked that had a
Solo.
crazy, huh? Solo.
Was it Solo?
Yeah, you could take, instead of dealing with Han Solo, pick somebody else, create another character. It doesn't have to be directly tied to anybody or anything. Create a character, somebody who's just trying to make their way in the world, and they find a pistol on a dead body, and they're just work their way up being badass.
Oh man, I just had a very, well, it's not like a revelation, but it's, I just kind of thought of this myself, is the reason that they probably don't do new is because they know it won't sell as well.
True, but this is the beauty of being Disney, and what scares me with companies like Disney. Take a chance. You have the money, and your money, you print money. You're a whole
They really,
economy in yourself. You're a country in yourself in terms of capital and property, digital and
this is
physical.
true.
Like
Hmm.
you're a entity in itself. You could be a country if you wanted to, and you would have a lot of people who'd want to live there and support you. If Disney announced today that they wanted to create their own land and be their own everything, you know how many people would sign up to be a part of it? It would be a problem. Talk about a secession. Like,
I fe- I feel like they would be like bigger in size in terms of raw people and
oh yeah,
capital than like some of those city states out there.
oh bro, it would be. I think you're short. I think you're shorting them a bit. I think you're not giving them enough credit. I think it would be pretty scary. Like those memes where you see, because Disney like owns our childhood, at least mine. They own all the major properties. What, like Fox? They own everything. They own everything that for the most part that was my childhood.
Hmm.
So I'm just one person. Imagine the masses out there. Imagine the fanatics out there, the people who got freaking Mickey Mouse tattoos tatted on them, or got a official Disney. Every year will go in debt for the Disney. I don't even think they do them anymore now. The not the Fast Pass. What are those things called? Where people pay for the whatever. Somebody in the chat knows
I
what I'm
think
talking
it may
about.
have just been like Disney Pass or something very unoriginal.
Yeah, the whatever, where you basically just pay for a certain amount of time you can go to Disneyland. Whatever. But they have, long story short, back to the point. They have the money, and they have that power to where anything they do, even if it's a flop in Disney's eyes, not a flop on the scale of in comparison to everything else. If you're constantly competing with yourself, of course it's a flop. We could talk about the last Star Wars trilogy. Of course, it was a flop in my opinion. In terms of quality as a fan, there was things that didn't sit right, things that didn't make sense, continuity, blah 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 blah. Like we can go down that path, but it still did
Hmm.
very well numbers wise. People still
Yeah,
dress up as Rey and freaking, I almost called him Ben Solo. What's his dang name? Um,
Kylo.
Kylo Ren, which it is. He has been. Yeah, thank you. A Disney flop is still. I will take. Pause. I will. You guys know what I'm trying to say. A flop at Disney is a movie goer, somebody who's creating something's dream. The worst thing Disney puts out today is like what Netflix would wish for.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So in saying this, they have enough power and money and clout and sway and marketing and all of the above to where they could shoot in the dark, bro. They could just shoot in the dark. They used to. I mean, you think about the old like Disney movies. You think about the old hell, give me mid-budget Disney Star Wars movies. Just a bunch of random stories. I'll take that. Like old school like Disney, what was those things called? It's going to bother me. Go ahead, talk, Johnny. I'm going to jump in like in a second. Somebody help me in the chat. Disney used to, what were they called? Disney movies? Disney.
Yeah, well, you look at that.
Disney Channel movies, original movies. Give me Disney Plus original movies. But Star Wars. But Marvel. But, you know, I'm dipping off into other things. Just give it to me. Make a mid-tier. You don't have to give me the the $500 million budget for, like, just give me, like, okay, kind of jumping ship. Not really, no, because we can stick with the Bad Batch. Bad Batch, What If. These are things like, go that route. Now, of course, I want more live action stuff. I don't mind a good animated story. I mean, I grew up on it. I watch anime every night before I go to bed. Yes, I want the Marvel scope, but Star Wars. And they're starting to do it. Now, let me not ignore what's going on here. Wolf brings a good point. I don't know if they have the leadership like Marvel does in order to pull it off. I'll give you that. Not yet. I'll give you that. But they're starting to try to do it. You know, we're getting it with Mandalorian. We're getting it with Ahsoka, the Bad Batch. Didn't they just re-put up Clone Wars?
They did, yeah.
Okay, so you know it's there. The fandom is there. We want to see it. I know I do. Do you?
What?
Just extended universe.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree slightly.
Okay.
I do not want like 50 new Solo movies.
No.
No. Let
Okay.
me explain. Not in like but like if like not like movies that like nobody is really talking about anymore. Like sure it's more Star Wars content, but if it's not captivating and it doesn't have a shelf life, then like what was the point? It's only just making them more money. But think of what was the example?
Marvel. Marvel's a good example of
Marvel.
what I want. I'm gonna be 100% with you. What I want from Star Wars is what Marvel is doing right now.
Okay, but I think that won't work because whenever you try to apply something like look at the hit, I say in quotations, dice games, Battlefronts 1 and 2. That is Battlefield, but Star Wars, and you know what? It flopped. Like the originals are still better than the dice ones. And
in my opinion,
that's like
I agree.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's a majority consensus. Like I don't have raw numbers to back that up, but from what I hear on YouTube and the comment sections, you know, be that as it may, you know, like maybe that's like
no, you're just getting a feel for the people.
Whatever.
You know, I got you.
Yeah. That's not what people wanted. Like we didn't want Battlefield reskins. We wanted the original Battlefronts redone. And think of it, and then like we don't want like do people really want Marvel movies but Star Wars? Like they have their own little gimmick going on in the Marvel universe. Like it's not exactly one-to-one in terms of like the IP. Like it very different feels, very different tones. Like just applying the model to Star Wars, I don't think would work.
Let me build on what I was saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is not so much in the feel and tone, but more of the structure. Create okay, let's create this new if you want to let's stick with the trilogy thing because that's clearly Star Wars, right? Trilogies.
Mhm.
Let's jump the trilogy up 10,000 years or 1,000 years or whatever because clearly time is not too much of an issue with the Star Wars universe because you go back what 1,000 so years and you're still flying around in star destroyers or not star destroyers but big ass ships.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go in the future 1,000 years. Only reference you see to Skywalker is like an old statue somewhere on a desolate planet. Him killing a star a Skywalker murdering a Skywalker murdering I don't know a tungsten radiator or something. I don't know. But it takes place. You don't even see a lightsaber until like the last. I don't know. You don't see a lightsaber until like the last movie in the trilogy.
Oh, I agree with that. I think they shouldn't include a lightsaber at all.
Yeah, no, just being 100% honest here. Like, go vibro blades, go, I want melee there. I want hand to hand combat. I want that to be a part of it. But the universe is just so big. Now, what that story is, I don't know. Right? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and I don't know. Maybe you can root it heavy in a war. A war,
Mhm.
I don't just root it in a war. Fine. Make it a lot more ground battles and keep if you want to have space battles, cool. But I want to see people on the ground dodging air bombs and whatnot, really going through it, and we can get the story of a up and coming general through the ranks. We can get I don't know maybe through the lens of a soldier, whatever. But along that, in that same universe, you take a section, boom, give us our crime drama. Who's funneling the weapons during this time?
Oh
Boom.
gosh, what was the name of that guy that the cameo in Last Jedi? Was it Felicia something Del Toro?
Okay. Yeah.
He
But
was supposed to be like one of those guys.
but this is what I'm saying. You can tell that when I say the structure, that's what I'm talking about. You can still have your main trilogy going, and then you can just break down from that, and you can have whole stories. There could be a whole hell. You look at Breaking Bad. You had a whole TV show called Better Call Saul that took off on its own and gained its own legs and just ran.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying because the universe. I mean, hell, look at Star Trek. Fuck, bump it. We'll go with Star Trek. They got a show called the Red Shirts, or what is it called? No, the lower hat. Whatever. What is it called? They got so far deep into Star Trek that they created a show, a funny animated show about the people below deck. There you go. That's what it's called. And Wolf said, I'd comment that Marvel has explored its depths better than Star Wars. Marvel has made more content in less time than Star Wars. Lower decks. There you go. Thank you, Wolf. That's what I'm talking about. And my only issue is and I think because they've been so rooted in Jedi, Sith, Skywalker,
Mhm.
and it's this is the issue when you have a company when you have an entity that makes so much money because you're afraid to pivot in any way because you don't want to see a dip in how much money you're making. They have the golden goose.
Yeah, they have an IP that people love and people like that are willing to pay to see it,
Yep.
regardless of the quality.
Like you know what wouldn't shock me, and I'm gonna say it out loud, and I think it's gonna come to fruition, and it's gonna be bad. They're gonna do some type of animated Luke Skywalker like in between years.
Oh no, I could see it.
I can see it. I can see it
I could
working.
see it.
I can see it working because we already know you have like I can't believe I forgot his dang name, and it's killing me. I feel so disrespectful right now.
Mark Hamill?
Yeah, Mark Hamill. We know he's one of the all-time great voice actors. Been doing it for over 30 years. Yeah, he's been doing it for over 30 years. Yeah, it's crazy. We know voice acting is like in his blood. I could see that happening. I'm actually shocked that it hasn't been rumored.
Yeah, he could definitely pull it off. It depends on how how like when the in between starts though, because like if it takes place even close to Return of the Jedi, I don't know if his voice would still sound like his um what is it, 1984 was the Return of the Jedi?
We have the technology.
Yeah. But whatever it is, I don't think he could voice match his younger self, but like maybe add like 10 years on top of that, boom, it would work.
I'm eating and I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. But when it comes to big entities not taking risks, um, that that is very true when it comes to Bad Batch. Um, I'm not gonna go into super spoilers, because some people haven't finished, and the story is okay. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna go super into it, but they didn't take risks. I would almost say it is, and I will say this is a detriment, not a plus, that it is basically an animated version of Mando, but with different characters, and I do not like that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good to me.
Like,
In terms of
she
being
was,
creative.
yeah, like she was in the promotion material. It wasn't a spoiler, but the character, the young clone Omega, she is like the now. She took up a lot more part of the plot than I would like. Um, but just like, man, you're supposed to be like, exploring that, very critical point in time
True.
between like the very aftermath of like Revenge of the Sith. Do more of that. Don't go on like Omega little mission, like side missions. Oh, oh my gosh. This is gonna turn into a rant. Why do shows put out 16 episodes when I would consider more than half of them filler? Just do, just do better, shorter seasons.
Mm.
It doesn't need to do, well, I know exactly why they do it, is to pan out how long people pay for the monthly
Mm-hmm.
subscription.
True.
But just like, oh my God, like uh, there was only like 5 good episodes in my opinion that
Mm.
actually stood out and um what I would recommend to others. The rest of it is literally filler, and it's not even good filler either. Like like I'm sure you could tell me like in a lot of animes, I'm sure the in between episodes are full of like do they still progress the plot, don't they?
It depends.
I guess on the show.
It depends because I've seen some side I've seen some filler seasons or filler arcs where it really doesn't have much to do with progressing the story. It's more of, hey, we're just trying to give them time. Like, was it Bleach? There was something I was watching where they went. It was almost like an alternate reality,
Hmm.
and then it just bounces back like it never happened. So, yeah.
Okay, well, be that as it may. Um, this isn't much of a spoil either, but there was no like they had the format from Clone Wars, arced episodes. There is two arcs of 2 episodes. None of the other episodes really like blended together, and that
Oh, are you
irritated.
serious?
Yeah,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I I thought it was gonna be like Clone Wars type stuff.
that's what everybody thought, and I will just say I am very disappointed in the formatting
Wait a
because
minute.
a
So
lot of
you
it,
telling me each episode stands on its own and is a completely separate story than the next?
besides the arcs, yeah, like there most of it is like miscellaneous side missions which don't progress the plot at all. And the 2 arcs, I'm not gonna go into the plot, but
Yeah.
it's one that focuses on the one planet I didn't want them to focus on. uh Basically, oh my, they plug one of their other shows, and that irritated me. Like, hey, you remember this exists? And the other arc was the finale, which they broke into two parts, so it's not even technically an arc.
See, it's sad. I've labeled myself as a pessimistic optimist. I plan for the worst and hope for the best, right?
You can only be pleasantly surprised.
Exactly. What bothers me about this situation is because they've had a formula that is beloved and worked. I didn't think they would stray.
They had no. That's what gets me as well. It's literally the same team that worked on Clone Wars and Rebels. Well, I mean, don't look at Rebels. Nobody talks about Rebels, but
Rebels.
I didn't. But they had the model. It was the exact same team. There was no reason to stray from it.
Bro, we really talked about this for 40 minutes.
We have. But something I just wanted to point out. This morning, actually, I saw a video. It was basically like one of those like behind the scenes like you'd get from like a CD set. Talking about like them making season 1 or 2 of Clone Wars.
Okay.
And you can quote Dave Filoni as saying something akin to, we wanted to tell this story because we want to take risks. That is not something you see anymore. Disney money absolutely killed their creativity.
Oof. The curse of the golden goose.
Like, it almost makes you feel like, what's the point of being rich and successful if you can't be creative like you're like set out to do?
You know what's weird though, man? And this is kind of, I guess we can try to steamroll and roll this over into the other topic for tonight. What I've noticed is it's not even, of course it's about making money, right?
At the end of the day, it always is.
It's about making money. But it also feels like it's about being in the headlines. Because ultimately it's to make money. But it's almost like they'll take a loss on money in order to be more popular.
Yeah.
That may not make no sense, but like, what am I trying to say here?
Well, no, it made sense to me. Like, it's not like, pursuing other things other than strictly monetary gain.
Like, how can we hit these numbers? How can we take over Twitter? How can we take over social media? How can we be the thing discussed in every podcast? But at the same time, doing it in a way that'll guarantee the money.
This is true. I mean, even if we may not disagree with the model, we are still technically talking about it on a podcast.
Yes, we are. They definitely got us.
What is the age-old phrase? Even bad press is good press or something?
Yep. God.
Which is strange how that works, but I mean, I can see the logic.
Oh yeah, sidebar. A friend of mine owned a hookah bar, and this was at like when hookah first really, not first, but when hookah like craze went up to like 10. What else, Stefan? But he ended up getting interviewed, right? And he's talking about how it helped him quit smoking cigarettes, and then like the news footage cut to and he's talking about how it's been better for him and him feeling healthier. And then it cut to a doctor talking about how unhealthy tobacco use is and in all forms. And then for him, he was like, I don't care. Like, good news. Like, his business boomed a bit. Like, I'll never forget that. Like, that's sidebar. And what's good, bro? So now, okay, real quick before we get on to the video games. What would you do if you had complete control of Star Wars right now to make it in the image that you think it needs to go?
What would I do? I would immediately cancel the model of let's do 100 different cameos of fan favorite characters because they like these characters,
I
and
agree.
I would start telling original stories with original characters.
And with that, I agree 1000% with you, Johnny. I wouldn't do much different, except maybe make more single player experiences.
Oh yeah, games. I would definitely do Star Wars games too. It's
Like,
it's like criminal how few there are.
and then I would want to see, because of how big the universe is, I would actually want to see every genre of game in Star Wars. Like, if Gwent can exist, we need some type of card, chip, whatever game from Star
The
Wars.
box.
Yeah, if Gwent can exist and stand on its own, so can that game. I need an XCOM. I need an XCOM version of just about everything. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie. I really do. Um,
XCOM Clash of Clans 1.
I need that.
Oh my gosh.
Hog Riders.
You'd be the tank.
Tanking. But no. Okay. So now moving on to the second part. What games do you believe need a reboot? Now, I'm going to jump on this one because I talk about it as much as possible because I keep hoping that I have this magical ability to make it come true. I'm hoping that I'm going to just say it, and then all of a sudden I'm going to wake up one morning and they're going to be like, boom! Oh my god, from left field, Atlas reboots the Orger Battle series. Like, that's what I want. I want the continuation of Orger Battles. I want them to make the game along the same light as Orger Battle 64, person of lordly caliber. A person of lordly caliber. I need that. I need that in my life. This game on Nintendo 64. Let me battle 64. How long to beat? It was a 40-hour RPG without like getting sweaty on 64. This was a deep ass game. It was
I can imagine.
It was so dope, bro. They had so many different systems. So it was it would be in comparison, the best comparison I can give would be a real-time strategy mixed with Fire Emblem. So yeah, like the battlefield would open up and you would like the map would just go. Like there's a pause and a pause button and a play button and the world moves. So the other team is constantly moving their soldiers around trying to take bases and whatnot, and you're trying to take bases, and then you set up your units. So you have unit formation. So that's exactly how they classify it. Ogre Battle is a real-time strategy role-playing game. That's exactly how they classify it. So you command a battalion of up to 50 troops. And I'm reading this from Wikipedia. I'm trying to find the proper phrases because for me it's just, love in my childhood, but I want to make sure I'm as formal as possible. But what's dope is each unit, depending on what type of soldiers you have, and depending on where you place them in which row, because it's a 3x3 square, and that's how you set up your soldiers. And each unit is up to how many people can you have on your unit? I forgot. I want to say it's 5 or 6. But it's a limited number. So you got your general, and that's who you see on the map. And then your units, depending on where you put them, they have special abilities, attacks. Like if you put a spellcaster at a certain position, they'll cast a different spell. If you give them a different type of weapon, blah, 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 right? It's a deep RPG. There's ranking systems. There's RNG systems. Like I had one of my soldiers die, and then instead of him being permadeath dead and I having to go out and recruit a new soldier, he came back as the undead. And now he had an undead like class path. Like, bro, the game.
But was he still a good guy?
Yeah. He's still my soldier, but he just was undead now with undead abilities.
Oh my gosh. That'd be
And
like a super OP army.
bro, and then but it's all random. Like I guess there's people out there who figured out exactly what you need to do, but it like what type of stats your character needs to have and how they need to
Mhm.
die in order to make it happen. There's some I feel like there's somebody out there in the world who did it.
Yeah, there's
Um
like a formula up there
there's
somewhere.
definitely a formula. Then there's hidden characters, hidden generals to unlock. There's it's got a deep there's how many endings did they have? There was more there's three endings, but then there
Hmm.
was different stories and way the ending is like there's three ultimate endings, but then the situations that happen along the way, characters you meet, people who die, blah 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 blah. Deep deep RPG RTS RPG, right? I need this,
Sounds like how they ended fall, like how they do Fallout endings.
right?
Am I like on the nose with that, or?
Yes, where it kind of goes through and it tells like a story,
Yeah,
like
like it's
yeah,
different outcome. Like it's not just like a set ending. Like you know how it is in Fallout. Like this side character gets their own like little
yes,
thing at the end.
like they open
Yeah.
so and so opened a store and is now raising his family and da 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 da.
Hmm.
I need this, or at least bring it to
I
the
just
Nintendo Switch, please,
I would
please.
just like to quickly shout out one of our older episodes. I don't remember which one it is. Um, where we were talking about just this, like Star Wars and like post credits.
Yeah.
Um, and one of us said, and on like, and we were talking about Rey, what happens to her after episode 9,
Oh, that was so
and
terrible.
on her way to like whatever like the new capital is to like receive her medal, New Hope style, she gets into a horrific like space crash and just bam, that's it.
No, you know what they would
That
do, bro? You know what they're gonna
what?
do if they did. Let's say they did that. She's gonna wake up with a coma, and instead of being a good guy, it's gonna be the Sith, and they're just gonna tell the Revan story, but from the opposite.
I don't think they'd be so bold.
I think they would, bro. I think they would do
Like
it.
a story from the perspective of the antagonist, that doesn't go with like the Disney vibe. But no, we're getting sidetracked.
Yes. So video games.
Hmm.
So for those who don't know, but I think everybody here listening knows, and if you don't, I am a big RPG fan.
Hmm.
I love stats, random rolls, perk trees, class systems, um, level like party organization. I love that. I love it. Sadly enough, I don't play too much D&D, but I do play the video games. Sadly enough,
I I always wanted to get into it, but I never did.
yeah, it's. I think it's just a thing where you need like consistent friends and to want to play, and then you're leaning on people. I do have actually a couple of like starter kits and whatnot set up for D&D, and my kids are almost to that age where we're gonna play. Like we started playing. I forgot which card game it was. It was basically like a card game D&D adventure where you could set up, and first me and my wife we used to play it, but we would have to create an arbitrary character because it needs three people, and we would play,
Oh, right.
and then we would flip a coin to see if the character is going to attack or help us because we wanted them
Oh
to
my
be
God.
arbitrary but just to play.
Mhm.
So this is the type of stuff that happened, but now I got my kids here, these little jokers, they're going to be helping out and they're going to be nerding down with us. Okay,
That's
but
awesome.
now moving forward, Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced, Square Enix, stop being scary, bring these worlds back. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance with the card law system, bring it back. We need the laws, which for those who don't know, the law system was a card-based system where each day cycle in the game as you're moving around the map, like the days change. There's rules that come in place over the world while you're in combat. So it'll be something like you'll come across a day and it'll say no sword attacks. And anytime you do a sword attack, you're punished, and you get so many punishments, and then your character is like taken off the map and put away in jail, and you got to go pay to get him out. It adds a whole new mechanic to the grid-based RPG gameplay.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
That
it
sounds
adds.
very arbitrary.
Yeah, it is. But then what's cool is they have stuff to defend against it. So you have like you can gain cards that'll like let's say this battle you need to happen to accomplish this mission that's on a time frame. But you land on a day where I don't know whether the swords, your strongest ability, your strongest attack is swords. Well, you can have a card that'll negate the those rules. Like, hey, I'll use this card to cancel out the rule of no swords. So now I can use swords that day. Boom. Okay. They have stuff like that. So Square Enix, make it happen. Bring back Final Fantasy Tactics, Advanced, and Tactics. Either or. Tactics was a little more adult world, like real time death, like your character would die forever. Tactics Advanced felt a little more cartoony. Still heavy topics, but it felt a little more for everybody in comparison to Final Fantasy Tactics, which was on PlayStation 1 and 2. I know it was for sure on the PSP, so it may have been PlayStation 2. But yeah, so Johnny, I talk a lot. I've talked a lot. What games do you feel need to be rebooted? Like what game do you feel needs to come back or get an add-on to, or some type of something from the past, just anything to refresh?
Well, I think I don't think it's the number one game I want to see like return, but it's the one that immediately jumps to mind, purely off of the nostalgia. They came out with 2 games in the little franchise and then it died.
Mm.
It's called Thrillville,
Mm.
and it was a LucasArts. That's the name of the gaming one, right?
They used to make some great
Yeah.
games, man.
It was a theme park tycoon. I don't think it was inspired directly. Like it's not a one-to-one. Like it's like 3D characters and you're like a character in the world yourself. So like you can interact with guests and there's like story and everything.
Mm.
But um, it just disappeared. And thankfully, they re-released it on Steam, and I've been able to play Off the Rails, which is the sequel. I think the tech may not be there to bring the original to Steam, unfortunately, but
Isn't it creepy
let's see.
watching like tech for games like disappear?
Really,
Like
but
it's just creepy.
it really is. But let's see a remake of that. I don't want it to be just like a remaster, like
Okay.
add new parks, new stories and stuff, but that format, I don't think any game ever really copied that. And especially with like the IP or whatever, which is very interesting and they have like cool little concepts and stuff. It would be a real shame to have it just be dead forever. But
Mm.
another franchise or game and I was gonna bring up this one title, but I'm gonna bring up something else. Supreme Commander. That franchise has kind of died out, and that is a real-time strategy. It's kind of like StarCraft, um, not in different genre of game. Instead of like the fast-paced, like clicks per second matter or whatever in StarCraft, this is like a more traditional RTS. Um, it's a very interesting world. You got your Cybrins, your Illuminate, and your Terrans.
Okay.
Um, and they're all battling out for supremacy of the galaxy,
Mm.
or something like that. I didn't play 1, I only played 2. Um, but that I want to see more Supreme Commanders because, man, that was definitely a large part of my Xbox 360 days.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay.
and then finally, to wrap up the list here, Sid Meier's Pirates.
Right.
I want it.
Oh my
Okay.
god, I bought that game like 6 times. Remember, it was on the
Oh,
OG Xbox.
oh my gosh, was it?
Yes, it was on OG Xbox. And when I got rid of my OG Xbox, I for some reason got rid of that game. And then I want to say you could play the OG Xbox version on 360 if I'm not mistaken, and I could be completely wrong. And then I went and bought it again. Then I bought it on PC, and then I lost whatever laptop and probably lost that Steam login or whatever. And then I bought it again. Bro, I've bought that game so many times, and I loved it.
Exactly. So you know exactly how I feel. It
Yes.
is. I'll explain it to the audience that may not know. Sid Meier's Pirates is, as you can probably tell, a pirate game. You are the captain of a small crew of merry men. You go around being a pirate. You know, you get to sink enemy ships, whether it be like the merchant vessels of like trading goods, or if you're going after like warships to upgrade into like capture and use it as your ship, you can create a small fleet. I only used to have like 3 ships max,
Yeah.
um, but you could go larger, but it's a lot more difficult. And then you could pretty much like align with one of the factions, or
Then there was a pirate leaderboard too, right? Like
yeah, you
Blackbeard
could
was
go up.
out there. Uh,
I love the fact that they gave Captain Morgan,
uh,
you know, they gave him Queen's Anne Revenge instead of Blackbeard, and they never fixed it. Um, that was a little tidbit that I like. But you can capture towns from the colonial nations of England, France, the Dutch, and Spain.
yep.
I always loved being like a like an admiral. I think that was the highest one. Yet, like you can have like you can be like, uh, or was it like a marquis or something? I don't remember, or a duke.
And then you can get married. You could deal
Mm-hmm.
with different governors and whatnot.
Yeah, you
It
could
was a
oust them.
yeah, it was a very layered game for its time.
Yeah, it really was. It's such a shame that like it didn't get like remastered because it's such an interesting concept. I do lie, they tried to do like a soft reboot in the sense that it was like a side add-on game mode for Civs 4 and 6,
Mm,
but it did obvious it's not that kind of game. Like you can't put it into like a tile-based like RTS. That doesn't work. We need like a full-on independent reboot.
bro, it goes back to the Commodore 64.
Oh my God. Do you think that's your most rebought game?
No, I still think Skyrim is my most rebought game.
Oh, because they just simply put it everywhere.
Yeah. Um, Skyrim, I picked up. Let me tell you, I'll end it with this because we're already over time. I bought Skyrim on the PlayStation 3 at first, but then they had issues with the port. With not the port, with getting the DLC. There was a long stretch. I want to say you couldn't get DLC on PlayStation 3 for like 6 months. It was crazy. So I ended up getting rid of my PlayStation 3 version and picking up the 360 version and then getting all the DLC for that. Then I ended up buying it again on the Xbox One. Then I ended up picking it up. I think I got rid of it and picked it up again. Then I bought it on PC, or it came with Game Pass, and then I bought it on Switch. And yeah, so yeah, I got
Did you
it.
get it for the Samsung fridge?
No, thank God. Thank God I don't have a smart fridge because I probably would have. But that is my final take. Bring back Ogre Battles. Bring back Final Fantasy Tactics. Atlas, stop being afraid. You have the power. Do it. And Johnny, any final notes?
Yes, I just wanted to make 2 little small notes. Number one, my most bought game is Battlefront 2, the 2005. I
Mm,
bought it for PS2 twice because the first sticks got worn out from being used so much.
mm.
I had it on Xbox Original, and I have it on Steam. And then finally, I would just like to say, Um, as like a callback to our earlier discussion, Disney, don't be scared. Do like interesting, creative works. Like, don't just rehash New Hope. I'm looking
Oh
at you,
God,
JJ.
yeah,
That, oh my God.
yeah. We could go for days on that.
We really could.
Folks, we have shows here at Level One every day of the week now. Monday, we have 15 minutes of fame. Tuesday, we have Ready Play Movies with Chakalaka, and then Cogs on the Machine. Cogs on the Machine when that comes back. Wednesday is the flagship show here at Level One, which is Double XP. Thursday is Take Two with Fame and Floor Hugger, and then Friday is Peak Game with me, Baron J67, and Dallas Man. And then Saturday is Ready Press Play with Chakalaka. And then Sunday is Now, which is StarCrossed Gamers, and we'll be back next week. Make sure to hit that like button, share it out, and do all that other fun stuff. Drop a comment. Tell us what stuff you want to hear us talk about, anything we missed, anything we should bring up that fits within all this craziness of the gaming world and TV movie world and Star Wars universe and Disney, whatever, all that good stuff. Then they keep buying up everything. But I'm Baron J67.
I am Johnny Man.
Much love, guys. Peace.